All right, I know I'm a bit late with this video, but at least I got one going. So I wanted to talk about one little thing before I get into, and I thought I'd talk more about that whole police community thing. And you know, I haven't thrown any conspiracies or anything in there or anything. I haven't criticized them on training or professional or whatever. I don't care about that. But I want to give one point here. You know, if you're not in office for us, for example, let's say you're even a supervisor or manager, and there's a guy who's maybe just starting, right? If you start fucking with a guy, and you tell me, or you understand yourself, and tell me what you think. You got a let's say you got a manager or something who threatens a guy, talking shit to him, fucking with him, knowing that out there, not only can he not fuck with him, none of his buddies, his brothers, his cousins, his uncles, his father, nobody can fuck with this guy. You know what I mean? And he knows that, and he starts fucking with him in the office. You know what I mean? Like, he starts fucking with the guy in the office. You know what the repercussions are? Because think about it. That guy, at that moment, it's highly bad. Or, you know, he's not just gonna, you know, and people talk about, oh, you can be a nobody in a no man's land, or a country that's not even a country or whatever. And by the way, I always say Toronto is like the part of New York State that all the immigrants that couldn't get into New York City came to. Okay, but anyways, let's go on. So can you understand the repercussions of how bad that is? You know what I mean? Like at this point, you have to be an adult, and you can't be an idiot. You got to be at a certain level to understand what I'm saying. When you act like that in that spot, knowing what you know, the repercussions are horrible, and they're not just for that person. Whoever is supporting that person, whoever is rehiring or keeping that guy in the office, and it can go as far as the communities that support that guy, will all get fucked. And you know that better than me. The repercussions typically are at that level. So we got done with that. Okay, so I might not be able to get into the police community thing because I got another idea. As I was talking about that, I got the idea. So I talk about dead time. You know, it's kind of funny. You know, Tupac actually had a lyric, and it was from his last album, All Eyes on Me, unless I'm wrong. I think it was. And he has a lyric, and he says, "You ain't gotta be in jail to be doing time." I do believe, the thing is, I never went to jail or anything like that when I was younger, man. I was never going to jail. Do you know what I mean? I wasn't getting in trouble. I wasn't getting desperate. My life wasn't getting bad. There was nothing like that. And I told you that, you know, when I literally, the moment that I noticed that something was going on in my life was when I was literally taking the flight from Medellin, Cali, back to Toronto. And before I even got onto that flight, like I told you what I was experiencing, and I was experiencing things on the plane, not necessarily against me, just kind of the way things were playing out around me was like not really favoring me. And then when I got back to Toronto, I thought everything was normal. You know, it was weird because I remember anyways, I told you about that. Things got really hard for me when I got back to Toronto. In 6 months prior to landing in Toronto, I think 6 months and 3 days or something like that. 6 months from landing in Toronto, I robbed the bank. But it was months before robbing the bank that I felt like I was doing that time. Or at least like a month before. I mean, life had just become so hard. Nobody was helping me. Nobody was siding with me. Nobody was doing anything for me. I had no help or anything. I was struggling. It was like everybody hated me, was treating me worse. I couldn't get a job. I'd go for jobs and they promised me that I get it, and there'd be somebody else there and they give it to the other person instead. One time they called us to a job and it was, well, anyways, the point is, it's just stupid. Like I was getting treated badly, to the point, and even with my personal life, I felt like my personal life was getting fucked with. And it got to the point that it really drove me to a point that eventually I actually became everything that they were pointing fingers at me for. You know, everybody was looking at it occurred to me, like one day I'm standing there, I'm like, why is everybody looking at me like I'm a goddamn armed bank robber? A robber. Why is everybody looking at me like I'm an armed bank robber? And I would always think about that, like, why are you treating me like I robbed the fucking bank? Because I never did anything fucking wrong, man. Why are you treating me like that? And then and then I robbed that bank. But it was like I was in debt time, man. It was like even if I went here, went there, got out there, it didn't make any difference at all. Whether and that lyric is so true. You ain't gotta be in jail to be doing time, man. But if you're doing time, chances are you'll end up in jail for at least some time. So I mean, life did get really bad. But dead time was when it was really bad. I mean, dead time was like my whole life changed. I mean, always in my life, I was always able to recuperate. I always was able to get money. I always was able to have fun. I was always able to do stuff. I was always able to find new friends or old friends or whatever. I was always able to, just have fun and do all kinds of activities and things like that. So I was always, doing stuff. You know what I mean? And it just like I just didn't understand, what was going on. And believe me, man, I mean, it's one thing to have a bad month or a month like that. I had 7 years of that. Not exactly 7 years. I would say over 7 years. I had over 7 years like that. It's one thing I've talked about, and this was way before I talked about the shadow world and all that stuff. But here I'm talking about dead time. Like I was in dead time, man. The only people that will actually help you in dead time are people who are either just as bad or worse than you. When you're in dead time, you ain't making no friends. You ain't making no friendly friends. You ain't making no friends in dead time, man. When you're in dead time, man, you'll find that you won't even have anyone who considered you a friend as a friend anymore. You got no friends in that time. And the only people that will help you are people who are just as bad or worse than you. And if you're one of the worst, you don't got a whole lot of people that'll do anything for you. You know what I mean? And the worst, you know what? And when you get to that, like when you got some people with you, yeah, life will be good for a while. But what happens when, you're on your own again? You know what I mean? Or what happens when you start having girl troubles and the girls are trying to take you away from who you are? Like you rob that bank and the girls are getting like, are kind of bringing you in and dating you and doing stuff for you just so they can turn you into something that you're not. Those girls are trying to pull you in and change you into something, not understanding like physics and stuff, not understanding that this guy robbed the bank, this guy's in dead time right now, not understanding that. And, after a little while, it's like, okay, so who do I have with me? Because I got nobody. And at that point, you might have, the only person you might have in your life is somebody who literally wants you dead. Like, literally wants you to die. Like, no more. Not metaphorically, they literally want you to die. And then you do fucking hard motherfucking time. Like, you're not even getting out no more, nothing. Life gets so negative and you get so down just to like be like, what the fuck is going on, man? What is this world? But that time made me stronger. The dead time made me stronger. The time that I did, it made me stronger in every way. And then finally being out of that time, feeling it and being out of that time, I mean, it feels amazing. If at a time when I was so lacking knowledge and everything in my life and I was at such a low level, to be able to have as much fun as I did, it's a big deal. You know what I mean? To have that much fun, and have life that good. I'll tell you, like prior to that time, I mean, this time has made me so much better in every way. I even business and things like that, even working or anything. Like, I mean, I am just so much better at this point. If there was ever a goal for me where I was like, without knowing what to become, if I said, man, I want to become who I am and the best person that I can possibly be, that would be now. You know what I mean? After doing all this time, if I was to ever say, without able to see, because our vision can be so off, especially consciously. You can say, oh man, I just want to be in a suit and a CEO. I just want to be so respected. I just want to have $10 million. You know what I mean? You think like that, right? But with me, like without being able to see at that point, but if I was just to say, dude, I want to be the best original me that I can be. That's me right now. And that's what makes me feel good. And being out at that time is also a good feeling. But I mean, those were a terrible 7 years. It was a terrible, horrible 7 years for me. A little bit over 7 years, but just horrible, absolutely horrible. And to come out of it, legit, I feel good. Now, I talked about the airport, but it was a little bit before that. I felt myself just kind of sink. Like fuck, man, like dude, I can feel myself sinking. Like I was in a penthouse having fun and all that stuff, and even at that time, I was thinking to myself, dude, I'm starting to sink. Like I can feel it. Like I'm just sinking right now. I feel like I'm just in water and I'm just sinking. Like my life is like falling below rock bottom into water, and I'm just sinking. And at this point it's like, okay, it's finally coming back, but I'm coming back stronger. I'm coming back better mentally. I'm coming back better socially in any kind of business sense, and that makes me feel good to be out of that time and to be living life, even if it's shitty right now. But either way, to be living life when I'm out of that mode. And after that 7 years of darkness, I'm like, I'm coming back in the light, but I'm coming back like a million times better and stronger. So that's what I want to talk about at that time. Do I have anything more to say about the police community? Not really. You know that anything I'm going to say about them is going to be negative. When I think of police community, I associate it with white trash, to be very honest. I didn't like that term, and I didn't like that stuff, but when I started noticing that there was jealousy from whites, I started realizing that they're white trash. You know what I mean? And anyone in Europe would tell you the same thing. You could have somebody from a good place, a strong position, and a strong guy and a strong character, and he would tell you, you know what, man? One day I visited so-and-so city in America, and I just felt like there was a lot of white trash. Or I went to some so-and-so city in North America, and I just felt like there was white trash. They're like jealous of you. You know what I mean? They look at you and they're jealous of you. They're jealous of your standards and your strength, and they feel that like them as a community is stronger than the type of person that you are. But I've never seen them so bold, so enraged, so ready to commit murders if they have to, so ready to go to war with someone if they have to. I've never seen them so emboldened. And I'm not saying so I've never seen them in that state. I've never seen something like what happened with the Russian invasion of Ukraine. I've never seen anything like that. A lot of white trash, they're so emboldened at this point, and they just feel like they can take down anyone no matter how high they are. Like I've seen it, like white trash will be like, dude, we can take down, we don't care who the guy is, who the country is, we can take them down. You know what I mean? And I see how emboldened they are. And to be very honest, the response is not emboldened or anything, but it doesn't need to be, because responsively, the white trash community and all the white trash, they would just get hit so hard. You know what I mean? And I'm not associating with any females from that police community at all. It's not like they're doing something for me. We're gonna do. No, it's not like that. They know I'm the enemy. They know they don't like me. They know that I will never associate with them. I will never be one of them. You know what I mean? So whatever they're doing is like a kind of an attack on me. And when they're trying to attack me, it's like, it's so bad that, they're gonna be the ones, they're sinking right now. And they're gonna be the ones in a worse place. They are so full of anger and emboldened and with this inferiority complex that takes the superiority. And it's happening around the world. In every continent, you've got an inferior class wanting to take over the superior ones. Oh, it's our turn now. Oh, we're gonna teach you. We're gonna make you slaves. We're gonna be on top of you, and you're gonna be our slaves now. This is the modern world. It's gonna end up so bad for them. They're just basically running into a wrecking ball that's coming their way. Anyways, I'm done. That's everything that I have to say. And fuck all the haters.